Hi, this is Mato of BMI Academy. Welcome back to our 10 problem series on mathematics. Like we've been doing, our focus has been on Unilag Postutme questions, math problem. And this is episode 4. This is episode 4. Okay, so here we have the first question, question 1. How do we categorize this? This is on calculus, specifically differential calculus. The question wants to define the derivative of x, the derivative of the function with respect to x, which means finding the y dx. If given a function ax to the power of n and you differentiate this, all you just need to do is multiply a and n. You have an x to the power of, you subtract 1 from the power n and minus 1. Get that? So we do a times n, then you subtract 1 from the power. Like in this case now, we have y to be equals to 3x cubed minus 5x squared plus 2x minus 7. When you differentiate this, 3 times 3 as 9, subtract 1 from 3 as 2, minus 2 times 5 as 10. Subtract 1 from 2 as 1, plus 2 times 1 as 2. Subtract 1 from what? 1, that's 0. Now, 7 is as good as writing 7x plus 0. So if you multiply that, you're going to get 0. So your final result here is going to be minus squared minus 10x. X raised plus 0 means 1. So this is going to be what? 2. And your final answer is option what? A. Question 2. It says evaluate the definite integral. If I give you a function like x raised to the power of n with respect to x, the rule of integration here is take the function x raised by n, to add on to it, then we divide it by what? N plus 1. So you end up having plus constant what? C. Now in a situation where you have something like upper bound and lower bound, like 1 of x raised by n with respect to x, you simply still carry out the same integration, like our integration being n plus x raised to the power of n plus 1 over what? N plus 1. Sorry, let me make this b, make a. So you put the upper limit b and a. What that means is you want to slot them in. You want to substitute a and b for x, and you do minus substitute a for what? X. Get that? All right, so let's solve this particular one here. If you follow the rule here, you know the power here is 1. So when you follow the rule, you're going to have 2x raised to the power of 1 plus 1 as 2. And over, what do you have? We have 2. And upper limit, we have 3 and 1. So 2 cancel 2, this is as good as saying x squared. Upper limit 3, lower limit 1. So slot in the value of 3 for x, so you have 3 squared, then minus. Slot in the value of 1 for x, we have 1 squared. So this is 9 minus 1 and gives you 8. The value of that is what? 8. Question 3. It's asking you to carry out that division. Divide 6x squared minus 13x plus 5 by what? 2x minus 1. Two things here. You either want to be a smart student or you want to be a brilliant student. A smart student does not have to solve this problem. I mean, you just don't have to do the calculation. You can figure out what the answer should be. Since this and whatever the answer should be, should multiply to give the original number. So what do? You try to carry out that what? Multiplication. Now, if I do 3x multiply 2x, that gives me 6x squared. And if I do the last one, 5 times -1, that would have been -5. So this is not -5, it's a +5. So I'm taking that out. The options are not smart. So if you do the second one, it aligns. So let's keep that. The third one, there is no way you multiply 5x and 2x and will give you 6x squared. That's out. B is also out. The only option left there is what? B. And sometimes you come across smart problems that expect you to go through this shortcut. So in that case, you just have to solve it the normal way. The normal way to solve this problem is do 6x squared minus 13x plus 5 using a division table. So you have 2x plus 1. Use first statements first. How many times can 2x going 6x squared say? 6x squared over 2x. And x times 1 will be x. This is 2. That gives you 3x. You get that? So telling us that the first number there is 3x. 3x times 2x. Use this to multiply this guy. And when you do that, you get what? 6x squared. Then plus 3x. Carry out this subtraction. 6x squared minus 6x squared is 0. Minus 13x minus 3x. I mean, see, you have to be careful of signing minus 13x minus 3x. What's that? That's minus 16x. Minus 16x plus what? Plus 5. Get that? So, how many times can 2 go here? Make sure I did 13. Okay, 2x multiplying this. I mean, in minus 16x, and that is going to give us, is that not minus 8? Let me check that again. Oh, I see. I made an error. Sorry about that. Is it? I didn't make an error. See, after we got this, we multiply this and this, we got, oh, I see. The error was from here. Sorry about that. The error was from what I use as my divisor. Okay, when we do the multiplication, it would have been plus, this times this, minus 3x. So if you subtract, you get minus 13x minus 3x. That would be minus times minus is plus. That would have given you what? Minus 10. So you have minus 10x and plus 5. So 2x and 10x. 10x over 2x. That gives you 5. So why did I write 10x there? It's minus 10. Why the error? So we have minus 5. This times this will give us 10x plus 5. We now have 0. So this means we now have 2x minus 1 and 3x minus 5 to be the information. Excuse me, please. To be the divisor of the polynomial. This is what we're interested in. Like I said from the beginning, you have no job trying to solve this problem. You have to pick the right option by being smart. So we have our question 4. This is, which of the following have the same value as sine 60? This falls under quadrant. Quadrant, we have the first quadrant, second, third, and fourth. So there is an acronym we use for all these quadrants. You can decide to say cast from here. In the first quadrant, this means all are positive. That is cosine, and tan are positive if the angle falls in the first quadrant. First quadrant simply means an angle lies between 0 and 90 degrees. Okay? Second quadrant is bigger than 90 but less than 180, and so on. All positive. In this case, only sign is positive, others are negative. And since this is a sign, I'm only interested in the sign. So sine of 60 degrees is same thing as the angle formula in the second quadrant is plus sine into you do 180 minus 60. So this is gonna give you what? Sine 120 degrees. Okay. Sorry, we don't have much time for us to explain further because each quadrant has its own formula. Okay, you know what? Let me just quickly do the summary for you in case they give you a different quadrant. Okay, so the first quadrant formula, the first quadrant, we make use of an angle 180 degrees minus theta. Second third quadrant, we have theta minus 180. There's no time for me to start explaining how we got this. And here we have 360 minus theta. So which means for the first quadrant, you just stick to SOHCAHTOA that you already know. For the second quadrant, we have it that sine theta is same thing as a plus sine of 180 minus theta. Cos theta is negative minus cos 180 minus theta. Tan theta is also negative. We have minus tan into 180 minus theta. Okay. Then in the third quadrant, sine is negative, so we have minus sine. The angle formula will be theta minus 180. And cosine is also negative. We have cos of this angle. We have tan theta, that's positive, plus tan of what? This angle. Now you go ahead and do the one for fourth quadrant, but the angle you make use of is 360 minus theta, and also acknowledging that only cosine is positive, others are negative. Okay. For instance, now if I give you something like let's say I give you tan 330 degrees, and I ask you this is equivalent to what? First question you should ask yourself is 330 falls in which quadrant? That's fourth. Then tan, is it positive or negative there? Is negative. So this is going to be equal to negative tan of 360 degrees minus 330. That's going to be 30. So this is equivalent to negative tan 30. Things like that. Let's move on. Question 5. So question 5 wants us to find the area of a trapezium. Sorry, it says the area of a trapezium is 20 cm square. We are looking for the height if the sum of the length of the parallel side is 10. So a trapezium looks like this. The parallel side A and B. The height H. The area is given as half into A plus B H. The question gives you the area 1/2. The sum of the parallel faces is given as what? 10. So times H. So from there, H is going to be 20/5. Now it's going to be equals to 4. So the answer to this problem is 4. You can take your time and solve it slowly if you do not understand. Question 6. Find the volume of a cylinder with base radius 10 centimeter and height that. Cylinder. Okay. We can model cylinder like it's a prism and say the volume is equal to cross-sectional area, which is the area of a circle per r square, times what? The length or the h. So this gives you per r square what? H. This is the same way you treat all kinds of prism. If I give you something like a rectangular prism, the volume would have been cross-sectional area length times breadth times what? Let's say this is height. So to be length times breadth times height in the end. But let's focus on what we have. We need the volume. So this is going to be pi. We have the radius as 10 times square. Then we have the height as 14. So using 22 over 7, 100 times 14. 7 and 14, that's 2. 2 times 22, that's 44. So we have 4,400. So the answer is 4,400 cm3. Question 7. This is asking us to find the mean deviation. What do you do? Before we get the mean of this information is 4 plus 5 plus 9 divided by what? Divided by 3. Okay, as it's in about 30, and that's 6. So let's get the mean deviation. The mean deviation, absolute mean deviation. 4 minus 6, that's going to be what? Is minus 2, but we're interested in the absolute value, so we have 2. 5 minus 6 is minus 1 absolute. 9 minus 6 absolute is 3. And let's add these 3 together. Our mean absolute deviation, which is combined, is going to be summation of the absolute deviation over n. If you sum the absolute deviation together, that's 6 over 3. So the answer is what? 2. Okay. So, let's say you want to be a smart student and you want to look at the options and predict the answer. You have 4, 5, 9, and you can see the gap between 4 and 5 is like 1, and the gap between 5 and 9 is like 4. So that's like they are not that close to themselves. So it is rare, looking at values like that, it is rare for the mean absolute deviation to be around 1, because the smallest deviation here is 1 and the biggest deviation here is 4. I expect my value should be around that 1 and 4. And this is outside those range, so I would have picked B. Anyways, question 8. This is an inequality. What do you do? Just expand. So this is 4x plus what? 8. So what do you do here? You can decide to color like terms. Like you can add the same number to both sides and subtract the same number from both sides. If you subtract what? Or I can do x equals to, greater than or equals to 4x. 8 plus 1, that's 9. So I can decide to move this to the side by saying x minus 4x is greater than or equals to 9. This negative 3x is greater than or equals to 9. In inequality, when you divide both sides by negative, the inequality sign changes, it reverses. So in this case, if you divide both sides by negative 3, it turns to less than or equals to negative 3. So the answer is x is less than or equals to negative 3. Pardon them without putting the equal to them. Question 9. Convert 6, 3, 5, base 8 to a pentagonal number. Indirectly, they want you to convert it to base 5. Okay. A job here may be to first convert it to base 10. Then from there, you convert to base 5. Okay. So that's what to do there. Trying to convert this to base 10, we have 6 times 11, 0, 1, 2. 6 times 8 raised by 2 plus 3 times what? 8 raised by 1 plus what? 5 times 8 raised by 0. So that's going to give you 6 times what? 8 squared. And plus, what do we have? We have 3 times 4. That's what do we have? 24. And plus 8 raised by 0 is what have we? 8 raised to the power of 0 is 1. 1 times 5 is 5. So you have a choice of using your calculator there. So what do? 8 squared is 64. So you do 64 times 3 times 6 and plus 24 plus 5 is 29. So this gives you 413 base what? Sorry, 130 base 10. But you need it in base 5. To convert a number to base 5, you do a repeated division of that number by the given base, in this case 5, and write down remainder. And when you are done, you write the remainder from bottom to top. 5 in 40, that's 8 times remainder 1. 5 in 18, that's 2 times remainder 3. Don't forget that my final answer should end in 3. The options are smart enough. We have 2 options ending in 3. If it was only one, we would have picked it. 5 again in 8, that's 1, remainder 3. In 32, that's 6. All right, so yep, remainder 2. So the answer is going to end in 2, 3. I would have gone for this without having to finish it, but let's move on. 5 here, that's 3, remainder 1. And the 5 here, that's 0, remainder 3. So our answer is all 3, 1, 2, 3 base 5. That's the answer. The last question. Question 10. So according to what question 10, it says a regular polygon of 2k plus one side has 140 degree as the size of each interior angle. Each interior angle of a polygon. Now, total interior angle of a polygon per interior angle of a polygon is simply equal to 180 degrees into n minus 2. Each interior angle of a polygon is going to be the total divided by the number of sides of the regular polygon. So in this case, the question is telling you that, well, this is definitely equals to 140 degrees. We are looking for K. The question wants to find K. Let's get N from here. 180 degrees into N minus 2 equals to 140 what N. Cancel the 0 for ease. 2 can still go in both of them. So you have 9 into N minus 2 equals to 7 what N. Open that, you have 9n minus 18 equals to 7n. So from there, you have 9n minus 7n, that's 2n equals 18. So n is equals to what? 9. Don't forget that n is not what you're looking for, but we are sure that the number of side n is what the question called 9. So 2k equals to what? 9 minus 1, 8. From there, k is equals to what? 4. So the answer to this problem is what? 4. So I hope you understand, and on this note, we'll call it a day. Thanks for listening. Bye.